All right. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are located. Super excited to get into the markets today. Lots of amazing price action overnight. I just want to throw it out there. Anything that we discuss here today is not financial advice, it's purely for educational purposes. We are just here drawing some lines, looking at the charts, predicting where market could potentially go. And yeah, it's all about probability. So excited to get into this. Bex, how are you doing today?
Morning. No, I'm doing well. Just enjoying the volatility.
Yeah, yes, it's traders market for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities. Looks like we are quite a few people are short right now, including myself. And I'm actually it's like you got to secure your profits because it's already sitting we're sitting in 70s right now for
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin. And this has been my strategy because we are not like at an extreme level such as 80 100K or something like this, right? Or even at this point 95K. So you have to, as you go, like you have to secure profit. At least that's been what my strategy, and it's been working well so far. That's what I like to do during the markets when it's not like a, a big trend, right? Because it's still like it's a smaller consolidation now. We've been seeing it from 79K to about 72K. I do believe though, like there are some big moves coming very, very soon. I think we're going to be hitting some key levels. Um, Hopefully we go to that 67 to 68K very soon as well. But yeah, but if you want to start diving into the charts, I'll go and send out the links to the invite to the community members.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do that. Look, I'll start off with total crypto market cap again. This has been the area to watch after we got the rejection from up here. So we're we're right at it. It's dipped into it a little bit. Hasn't quite given like the kind of flush that I would want to see if it's gonna get a reversal here. So I still think there's probably a little bit more dipping into this that needs to come. Probably maybe in the next couple days. Could be in the next couple weeks. We could also we could also go into a bit of a consolidation near these levels as well. So I'm not ruling that out. But um, this little pattern that you're getting here, I do like to pay attention to these. Usually they lead to like a final big flush, and then you get the reversal. But here, I'll invert it so you know. But this is very typical. You kind of get this like gradual pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Eventually, there's one last final high volume push, and then it rolls over. See if we can find an example. Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw it here, right? Where you kind of had multiple pushes up, and then you finally get the big one that reverses. You kind of saw it here as well, right? Pushing up, kind of looking like this actually. This actually kind of looks similar to this, and then it can still have one big push before then it kind of cools off a little bit. So that's kind of similar there. That's interesting. But yeah, I like to pay attention to this type of stuff. Same here, right? You're kind of pushing, 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 and then eventually you get the reversal. Same thing here. One push, two push, three push, right? Maybe that was actually part of it as well. Um, Anyways, there's a technical pattern. I really don't do a lot of like pattern or candlestick pattern type of trading, but there is something that people call like a three drives, right? And you do see that play out quite a bit. I mean, you could almost kind of say that this actually was in a form a bit of that, right? You have these three big
Mhm.
pushes, consolidation, big push, consolidation, and then you shift trend. So we could be seeing something similar like that on the lower time frames into this, but inverted, right? So you're kind of getting like three big pushes to the downside. At some point, you could get a bounce, and then you could look for some key levels up here where previously you had a floor that could now be kind of like a next area to grab some short entries if you're looking for short entries. So I don't think we're quite there yet. I think it's got a little bit of room still to go before that happens. But we're quickly approaching this like 2.5 to 2.3 trillion level here is pretty interesting. And you have this is the deepest part of it at like 242. Let me throw on the rest of this history and see if that still sticks here. 275 and 242. Yeah. So this is actually a really interesting point right here. Let me make sure I mark that out for myself. Give me 1 sec. Let it load. Right there. I'm going to put a horizontal on there. High time frame, low volume area. That's like the key part of this entire. We did touch it, surprisingly. Okay. So we actually had a touch, or just about a touch. It's right above it. Really close. So this will be the area to watch here, around like 2.42-ish trillion or so for total crypto market cap. And then you're seeing the same thing with stablecoin dominance. If you go to stablecoin dominance, this thing has been on an absolute tear to the upside, but it is now approaching like overextended areas up here where it's at the top. It's at the top of this channel. It's above the prior range high. You know, this could still extend a little bit more, don't get me wrong, but we are starting to see some signs on the lower time frames where you're getting, you know, attempts at going higher that are getting pushed down, and they're not. This is overlapping, right? So it is key to pay attention that this push up doesn't go significantly higher than the past one, and it actually pulls back most of the push. And then the next push up only goes a little bit higher than the previous one and pulls back almost 50% of that previous one. And then this one just barely went above that last one. So if at some point, what you're looking for here is at some point on one of these pullbacks, you're going to get a shift of structure. One of these pullbacks is actually going to break a previous low. And that's what you're watching for. So you're watching for the first one of these pullbacks that actually takes out the bottom of a previous move. That'll be the one that now starts to signal that you're potentially looking for the lower high here on stablecoin dominance. And this concept applies to anything, any and all price action, right? When you're seeing overlapping like this, you're seeing, you know, what could be developing as like some form of exhaustion here on this push up, because you're getting failed attempts to break higher, and you're only making slightly higher highs. Although you are still keeping higher lows. That'll be your warning sign. As soon as you break one of these lows and you get a lower low for the first time, you'll want to be paying attention to that. So, but even then, like, I think that if this thing does roll over, all we're probably looking at is for it to come back here to prior range high, and then gear up for probably another leg up on stablecoin dominance. I'd be very surprised if it were to come down and take out the low of this consolidation range. I think right now the most likely is this is pushing up, and we're going to come back into the top, or at least the upper half of this consolidation, and then we're just going to gear up to go higher. And of course, stablecoin dominance going higher means cryptocurrencies are going lower, right? Because they are inverted. So that's what I'm seeing here on stablecoin. This is a very interesting chart. It is sometimes cleaner to read. I mean, you're seeing this is very clean attempts to go higher, very, very wiki. And Bitcoin is doing the same thing. It's trying to go lower, but again, it's making moves where, you know, similar idea of a lot of overlapping. You're coming down, you're going up, and then you're going just marginally lower, just very little lower. And you're coming back here. For example, it came back almost 100% of this move, right? It almost retraced 100% of that move. And then here again, it comes down lower, just a little bit lower than that previous one. And you end up pulling back over 50% of this move here. And so this one is just a little bit lower than this one. So same thing, I'd have a similar expectation that, you know, there's a decent chance it comes up around here if it's going to roll over, and then we'll see again if it puts in a new low, or if something changes. Or, you know, at most, I would suspect it's going to come up somewhere up here near previous day low, maybe here where volume kind of starts to come in. So, you know, maybe you can get something like that, and it does something like that. So just something to pay attention to. You know, this is a nice range to trade if you're paying attention to that, and if you're putting the time in front of the charts, you can catch some of these moves, whether you're catching the counter trend bounce, or you're catching the short with the trend. These are very, very nice moves here. I would just treat it as like a channel. It's not a perfect horizontal range, but I would probably look at it through like this lens, where I'd say, okay, this is roughly my volatility range. And so
Mhm.
you want to be careful around the midline, right? Because you can get reversions at the midline, and then you definitely want to be booking profits at the extremes. So if you did happen to catch a long from down here, you're taking profit around there, and if for some reason it goes up, you're definitely booking more profits up here. You're not really betting on a break of structure until we get a break of structure, and then we can adjust the strategy. But right now, you're kind of just betting on continuation, and then that would come back down, and you'd be looking for there, take some profit probably again at the low, and then see how low that takes you on the way down. So yeah, this is like very tradable. This is very, very tradable. I think you
Mhm.
just have to have a strategy and a plan for it. I'm not really touching anything else, although you could probably do the same thing with ETH and Sol. Both are kind of doing something similar. But
Mhm.
those are still coming into big levels like previous year low and stuff like that, whereas BTC already took that out.
Mhm.
But that's basically what I'm doing is I've just kind of been watching these coins. I do have a few that I'm paying attention to that if we do get some type of like, and this will be very clear, right? If BTC can get a move up above the weekly open, which is also
Mhm.
the high of this last bounce, then you're going to be shifting structure to bullish, right? In the short term, because you're going to now be
Mhm.
uptrending. You're going to have a high, and you're going to have a higher high. So if we can do that, then we need to zoom out and we need to look at like 1 hour, 2 hour levels overhead, and then we'll be paying attention to this level here about 79.
Yep. 80
79 and
or so.
80.
Yeah.
Yep. You've got a VWAP
Mhm.
up there. You've got the high of the previous day up there. And then if
Mhm.
that can keep going, you've got 50% of the previous week at about 83K. And you've got more levels moving up towards like 80, 84, 85. And that's a huge zone. I mean, if we were able to get up there, I think
Mhm.
you'd be really shopping for a very nice short entry potentially. So um, this would be a big zone to go paying attention if we go up here to potentially getting that slap back down, you know.
Mhm. No, I love that. I agree with you on there. Absolutely. I could see that too, like an A-type pattern brewing
Mm-hmm.
after what it's done so far. So definitely that's on the charts. I can share my
Go
screen.
for it. Yeah. Yeah, and this is all just like
Any,
just we're letting the chart tell us what it's doing. You know, if the chart keeps making lower lows and lower highs, then you keep trading that, and if something changes, you adjust.
yeah, no, absolutely. Very clear price action too, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Like it's not confusing at all. Like even if you are new to trading, like I'm getting some DMs and it's like, I haven't traded the markets before. This is my first time, and it's like very clear patterns and everything. So it seems like people are doing good, which is awesome, which makes me happy. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I appreciate all the comments and the reposts, guys.
Yes, please, if you haven't already done that, make sure that you are commenting, retweeting, sharing. Comments are super helpful, get us better visibility for sure. Um, okay, so I got this one, got the exit screener. We want to look at anything there? Uh, okay, let's see. StreamYard. For some reason, I couldn't see my share window. Okay, I think this is it. All right,
Yep,
so,
I see it.
okay, I'm gonna bring it up. There we go. All right. So really, I know that a lot of people they were watching this level, right? 74K. And this is a higher time frame on weekly. The only concern that I had about this is it wasn't like it was a clear head and shoulder, right? Which is what I
Mm.
mentioned. This is like a head and shoulder pattern, which is why you don't really want to go long here. It can be very risky. So we are seeing that already. The stop losses of everybody who went long at 74 or close to 74K or 75K, now they're getting their stop losses hit. And one level that I'm watching for sure is this 200 EMA on weekly. 67 to 68K should be a bounce here, right? I mean, it can go pretty far, right? It could go all the way to 65. but it's going to get a bounce here. So this is a level, this is a key level that I'm watching. Again, this does not mean it's over. And remember, like when we started doing these live streams and been even before the live streams, when we were doing FOMO Friday, which we've been doing forever, we were talking about these numbers, the goalposts that keep moving, right? So those of us or those people who were bullish, they keep saying stuff like, oh, it's never going to go under 100K. Oh, it's never going to go under this. Oh, it's not never going to go under that. And look at what happened. Look at where we are at right now, right? We are now the goalpost is going to keep moving. So it was never going to go under 90K. Then it did. It was never going to go under 80K. It did. It wasn't going to go under 70K. It's going to. Then the 60s and then the 50s and then 40s and who knows where else we're going to be, right? So keep a very open mind, and we've been very consistent for years now. When we said 2025 and end of the year is gonna be Bitcoin's top, and then after that it's gonna be a crash for an entire year, and we are sticking to that. There is no flip-flopping here. There's no changing opinions. There's no deleting tweets. None of that. And that's what we are maintaining, and we're going to stick to that. Right now, if the data proves us wrong and it creates a new all-time high, we'll be the first one to admit, yeah, we were wrong. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean we missed out. Like, oh my gosh, we missed out. It's going to be more like, hey, let's wait for a pull back to a key level, and we're going to buy back. We're gonna ape in. And so there is no missing a trade. There was nothing there like that, right? And so now the next key level, this one we're watching, super important level to pay attention to. What it's going to do is most likely when we get a bounce, where is that bounce going to go? What are the key support levels previously that were broken, right? This was a nice little level here. This is a nice level here. And this one as well. So if we are sitting here and we go up a little bit and then crash again, that's a possibility. We could potentially maybe go all the way up to even this yearly high or yearly open and then maybe crash, right? So lots of good levels that are going to be coming up. And it's not going to go like from here to, 120K. None of that is going to happen. Very, very less likely, right? Probably chances of that happening 1%, right? I'm going to keep that 1% chance, 99%, like from the probability. It just can't do a move like this during the bear market. That's what at least the data tells you. So we'll see what it does, but there's going to be some sort of a bounce here. So I'm watching for that. Does not mean I'm going to go long. I'm going to continue to maintain that. Longs are very risky during the bear year, very risky. Shorts, safer for me. So I'll be waiting for, even if I take a long position, it will be like I'll be securing profits aggressively on this and moving my stop losses and all of that. And then, of course, looking for a move up, wherever it may be, and then looking for short opportunities off of that. So that's going to be the move. Again, risky level, but a level to watch. This is where the prices come in. Like it's going to happen. Now, can it just reverse here, maybe go up first and then come back? Yeah, possibility. But we are getting pretty close to this level. So this is a good one to watch. Another one on the monthly. As you can see, actually monthly 50 EMA is kind of curving up a little bit, right? So it might be, it's about to roll over though. So it's getting close to that level as well. And that level is here at about 65.7. So let's actually move this box just slightly, just in case. So it covers both of our EMAs. So this is where all the action is going to be happening right here. And then, of course, as you could see last time, what happened when we hit 50 EMA, we went slightly below, right? It was about 25,000, and then it went all the way up to about 32. So that was a good little bounce, which I would anticipate we can get some sort of a bounce here, unless it's too bearish to where no one really cares and there's just the buyers don't come in, right? Maybe buyers don't find this level interesting enough for the price to move up. We are seeing Binance buying very aggressively as well. They are putting in $100 million in Bitcoin very, very aggressively. And none of us are screaming manipulation, because you could, as a bear, you could say that's, Binance is trying to manipulate my short positions. It's like, nope, markets are going to do what markets are going to do. Anyone can do anything. No one but myself is accountable for my trades. When I take a trade, it's my accountability, it's my responsibility. It kind of reminds me when I was in college. I remember a lot of people that I met there, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but few people that I met there, they were in college for many years, many years, right? Some of them were like career college students who were there for about 7 years. And I was trying to wrap up graduating in 3.5 years, right? So beating the four-year record. And all of these people are there, for 7 years, 8 years, And one thing that I heard consistently was my advisor messed up my what was it called? My degree plan. And I'm looking at them going, how? And then I'm also thinking, how did an advisor mess up your plan when you are the one responsible for it, right? Like I can't. My advisor is my advisor. For when you're in college, my degree advisor is just my advisor. They don't own my degree plan. They do not own my actions. They don't own any of that. They just advise me on what to do. But then at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to go do my due diligence, figure out what classes I need to graduate, and then graduate on time. And there was a lack of accountability. And I'm seeing that same sort of lack of accountability when it comes to crypto Twitter. We have people blaming others. My analysis was correct. We were going to go to the moon. We were going to have a new all-time high in Q1, but we are not doing that because somebody's manipulating the charts. It's Binance manipulating. It's Coinbase manipulating. It's Wintermute. Like all of these people, none of them are conspiring against you. There are a lot of winners, like you could see it in the network, who are winning consistently. They're taking the right form of trades, and you should be trading that way, right? So be accountable for your trades, be accountable for your actions. No one else is responsible for it. I'm seeing a lot of inflow coming from Bitcoin miners as well, right? Miners are selling Bitcoin as well, which of course they're going to be moving their crypto to Binance or Coinbase, and then they're going to be selling it from there. And then of course what you're going to see is Binance selling. Binance is not selling currently, they are actually buying, but their clients are selling, which is what you see on the chain. So there's a difference there. It's not Binance crushing your chart. It's not manipulation. It's just Bitcoin 4-year historical data. The cycle's working out exactly how they do every 4 years. And so you can now, I hope that everybody who doesn't believe in that does grow up and start to see this data working consistently. And what you don't want now is for the data to not work, because we have the end of the year coming up in October, right? The end of the cycle coming up in October. So what you don't want is for the cycle to not work out, because believe me, if you're saying 4-year cycles are dead, and they are truly dead at the end of the year, you're not going to get that bottom. You can forget about it. So you would want the data to work, right? And you would want that to work. So let's see where that ends up at the end of the year. But this is a key level to watch. I am currently short on quite a few positions. I am short Solana, short Ethereum. I did post it in the group and I went short. And so those are a few positions that I do have right now. And then also I know a few people went short on Bitcoin. Some people are also holding it from, was it FOMO Friday trade? Some people are still holding that one. So that one is working out well. Are you still in that trade, Bits, from FOMO Friday?
No, it was so choppy. I closed it. Yeah, and then I should have. I closed it, in profit, but I closed it, and not the amount of profit I would have been in if I would have held it. But and then I didn't catch the other big drop, which I think was during like a UK session. I saw it the next morning, and I was like, well, I missed it. But when was that? Like I think it was Monday or Monday night during UK, maybe is what it was. So it would have been Tuesday morning. Was the next big like really clear setup, and I just missed it. So now at this point, I mean, we're near the lows, so I'm either looking for a counter trend long down here, or I'm waiting for price to go back up and give me another entry somewhere higher. But
I had a short position during FOMO Friday, which I took, and I also closed it in profit. I re-entered, I believe it was this one. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Either this one or this one. And then I did close it here. So that was a nice little move as well. And so that was the Bitcoin one. And then, of course, Ethereum and Solana still in those. And we'll see where the price takes us. I mean, it's looking very, very interesting right now. Sometimes Solana tends to kind of give you that first move, so you can kind of keep an eye on it to see what it's doing. And then potentially sometimes other pairs do catch up to it, like Bitcoin would catch up a little bit later. So it's a good point of confluence. CMB says, will you all do a silver chart, or is this just a crypto session? CMB, we actually do look at gold, metals. Sometimes we do look at oil and all of that as well. Bits, I know you said you were in some metal trades. I'll let you do that.
Yeah. I'll share a silver chart because I've actually got a really fun one. So here, let me switch over to mine. Okay, you got it. Yep. So first off, I think at this point there's a really high probability, not guaranteed, but there's a high chance, right, that that might have been it. So something I found out looking at the chart today was that I was I've had this channel on for a while, but I had it anchored off of the absolute high over here, right? I had anchored it off of the high, and I'd never really looked back at it again. And so when I was looking at this move up, I was like, well, I was expecting 140. That's kind of where I was expecting silver to top out, is at 140, based on using this high here. And what I didn't pay attention to, though, unfortunately, though, is that after this high, you actually put in this other lower high here. And usually I like to update channels to the most recent high. And in this case, it would have been the lower high, not the peak of this move back here, especially when it was such a this was such of like a trap move, right? Because you had an engulfing candle basically right afterwards. You had a big move up with larger move down, and then you had this move here. And so today I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? I wonder what happens if I pull that channel down to that peak. And then I pulled it and I was like, that's the right way to put that channel. That makes sense now. So yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, I built it wrong initially. And when I do the channel based on this high, which is the one that makes the most sense, that was actually a perfect touch of that. So yeah, as of right now, I think there's a pretty good chance that that's going to stick for a while. And if that's the case, I think you're looking at a move at least back to this breakout point here. So at least back to, $50 or so for silver, maybe a little bit below that. And I think a deeper move, right? Because I do like these channels as like a volatility range, right? So it goes from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel to the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. If it were to come back down to the bottom of the channel, let's say it's, even if it's out here looking at like 2030, 2031, somewhere over here, it basically be a move back to around 30, $35 to $40, somewhere in this range. So, you can do a little bit more calculation here in terms of, well, how long did it take it to absolutely bottom? And, if we were to repeat that again, where does that put us roughly? And you can kind of, you can do some of that. Sure. I haven't done it yet, but just looking at this, if it were to move back to the bottom of the channel, it could move here, somewhere around there. And I think it'd be perfectly healthy. Now, if this move down takes a lot longer, takes more years, then maybe it's only coming down near this upper zone that I have marked right here, right? But yeah, there's no doubt that there's a pretty good chance that has been it, and that you've got a big move coming down, at least down to 50. I think a move into the mid to upper 30s could happen as well. If you start taking, for example, if you start taking a fib from this low here, this absolute wick low to the top, a move here is a 382 pullback, which is pretty common. And a move here is just a 50% of this entire move, right? You still have like the golden pocket down here, significantly deeper. And then, depending on if you wanted to say, well, I'd rather pull my fibs off of this low. Okay, we'll pull your fib off of that low. That still puts you at a 0.5 right here. And that puts your golden pocket at this level now. And then maybe you're like, well, I'd really want to pull the fib off of like this last dump before it went parabolic. Okay, well, let's do that. This still puts the golden pocket here, and that still puts this deep 786.854 level here. So it still lines up with all of the fib levels. It's just, if you grab it from further into the move, you're getting a deeper retrace, as opposed to if you grab it from like a significant low. But these levels here are still correlating with interesting fib levels. Even pulling it back here to like some of these lows down here, you still have, a big levels that correlates to. So either way, no matter how you draw it, these are levels I'm interested in. I'm looking at about 45 to 50, and then about 33 to about 38ish for silver. And of course, what's going to happen is this thing's going to take its time. It's going to come down there. By the time it gets down there, people are fading this. Silver's done. It's a scam. It's never going to run again, blah, 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 blah. And then that'll be the single best buying opportunity before it does it again. So that's just how this goes. If you look at silver historically, that's exactly what it's done every single time. Every single time that silver has had these big moves, right? People are saying, oh, silver's moving like a meme coin. It's never done this before. Okay. I mean, are you sure about that? Are you sure it's never done these kind of moves before? Because I'm seeing quite a few of them. And actually, if you go back to charts that have even older history than that, this is what silver does. Goes on parabolic thousands of percents to the upside. And then what does it do? And then it pulls back like 90% of those moves, right? So you had a 92% correction there. You had a 76% correction there. I mean, it's not, none of that is really that different from what's happened in the past. Just most people aren't looking at charts from, most people are looking back to like COVID and forward. Maybe some people are going back to, 2010 or so. How many people are looking back, pre 2000? Probably not that many. But yeah, if you were to get a pullback from here, let's say you did even just a 50% pullback, puts you around $60 silver. If you get a 60% pullback, you're closer to that target I was talking about, like 48 to 50. And if you did a 75% pullback, you're down to 30. What's a 70%er? 70%er is right in that level I was talking about, like 35. So yeah, just depends. I mean, I don't know how deep it's going to correct, but I can tell you that every time it's had these parabolic moves, it's always corrected big parts of that move. So that's what I'm watching there. In the short term, though, I will say with silver this week, managed to grab two, actually silver was one and then gold was the other one. But with metals, there was two scalps that I took. So I did take a silver long here at about 78. What I was looking for over here, someone called it out in the group, and I waited for really a break of structure above here to start sizing in. But I did take a starter position down here on this like shoulder looking thing, right? So I did take a little starter position here. And then after we got this higher high here, I waited, and then on this structure here, I added. So I ended up with like a average cost of about 82. And then we played that, and I did take profits as of this morning up here very nicely on that move. So still holding a little piece of it, but right now my stop at this point, I believe it's right here, right under this. So it's not far from it. Might get stopped out. And then gold, I did catch a short from up here this morning. So we took a nice little scalp short on gold. That's looking pretty nice. Gold is what I'm very, very much watching actively on the weekly time frame, because if we can't get a close on gold above 5,000, this is looking like that was probably it right there, right? So 5,000 is kind of that line in the sand that I'm watching for both daily, and you can see already how much it's struggling on a daily chart to get a close above 5,000. That's going to be a big level. This pretty much after 5,000, it's nothing but a wick on the weekly chart. I think if you can't get a daily or a weekly close back above that, if we can't start showing some strength back up, there's a good reason to be looking for lower in terms of gold as well here. So let me get rid of some of that. And then I would say, as far as like downside levels, this is basically what I'm looking for. I think if we get a move back below here, below about 4,600, then I'm looking to this is like a 50% level. I'd probably be looking for some kind of short move here, TPing about there. And then I want to see if we can get a full extension all the way down to about down here even, which sounds kind of crazy, but 3,500 to about 2,600 would kind of be where I'd be looking in terms of long-term targets. So you could probably hold some big swings there. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. So silver, same thing. I mean, if silver can't push much higher than I'd say about 90, 95, 96 is probably where it's going to run into some trouble. But same thing, if it can't get a weekly close above, just call it about above 100, it's really going to struggle above 100. then you got to start looking down here. Then we start looking towards those first targets near, probably looking here like in the upper 60s, but really realistically looking down in the 50s for silver. But yeah, not surprising. I think most crypto people were aping into silver on that big run, right? And it's kind of what marked the top there. Always kind of does. Is people had forever to look at silver and to look at gold, and I'd been talking about these metal charts for like 3 years now against BTC even, and talking about I was one of the few that were really kind of hounding this one in, that BTC against gold really just put a deviation above 2021 highs. It wasn't able to hold. This was your top BTC against gold back in December of 2024. Since then, it's really just underperformed. You would have been better holding gold since then, or silver since then. So, but yeah, that's kind of my quick take on metals. I think there's going to be some cool short opportunities on both gold and silver, and luckily we can actually get access to that now on crypto platforms, on some of the DEX platforms. So you can go in there and do some on-chain stuff, and even some of the centralized exchanges have some exposure to it. So, yeah.
Well, this is great. So another thing I want to talk about is oil. I do have the oil chart up that I can bring up. But anything you want to add before I change the screens?
No, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. I know we were talking about, like, the entire crypto Twitter was talking about gold and silver crashing, and then all of that money rotating into crypto. But actually, no one was talking about that money rotating into oil potentially, which there is actually a very nice correlation for that, except for some of us. And also Northstar. Northstar was really talking about that, right? He was really emphasizing on that there's usually gold, oil, and silver have a big correlation if you look at it, historical charts that you could look at. So definitely he was calling for it, and we are seeing that as well. Oil has been kind of on the move to the upside, even as the correction happens on some of the metals. And so that correlation is something to remember going forward. And I wasn't even like, I'm not, when I'm looking at crypto, I'm not necessarily always looking at the gold and silver chart when I'm focusing on crypto. So I wasn't even looking at oil chart until Northstar mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, thanks for the reminder. And I did give it to some of the communities as well, that oil may be making for a move up. The only thing that I am finding concerning is that, of course, right now it's on the move. I'm thinking probably it's going to go to about $70. But on the yearly chart, though, it's like a very clear top to me. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be coming down to this level before it creates a new all-time high. So that's what I'm watching. But again, this was a pretty significant move as well. Bitch, this is what we need to catch next time. This move that happened in 2020, the big crash in oil, when oil actually went into the negative territory in the futures market. We need to catch that one next time.
I remember I had friends calling me that knew I was that I was into trading and investing and stuff like that. And man, we were cooking up a plan how we were going to buy barrels of oil, and where do we store it? Who's got a ranch or a warehouse, and where
Yeah. It was hilarious. Yeah, they were going to give you money and oil. Yep. It was a negative trade. I mean, goodness, yeah, it was pretty phenomenal, but it recovered pretty quickly too. So yeah, the yearly chart, I think we may have some downside here to this level maybe, and then we continue to move up. But that was a very good catch for those who actually did pay attention, and also paid attention to what Northstar was saying about this correlation and how oil was lagging behind. There's always something that's lagging behind, always an instrument that's lagging behind that's going to catch up. And more often than not, it's It's actually, or it's not. It's most of the time it's not Bitcoin as people think that gold and silver is crashing, all that money is going to go into crypto. That's not how it works. It's usually another commodity that it's gonna probably run into. So that correlation is good to watch. One small cap play that I'm watching right now is Oink. I do think this has a healthy chart. It could potentially go to about $1 million market cap. It was sent to me by a fellow KOL who also previously sent me, what was it, Soulboy, which did pretty good for us. It did go to about 1 mil. And then, of course, the entire market kind of crashed after that. And maybe it still has some upside. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. It did bounce off of my level as well. But this one, Oink, is one that I'm watching right now. I do not know the team. One of my fellow KOLs, who I think is one of the most ethical KOLs as well. His calls are not always going to work out, of course, but he has a very high win rate as well. And he's not like a predatory KOL where lots of meme coin KOLs are like predators and I don't know, complete scammers. They will actually send you something and then they'll dump on you. He's not like that. And so this is something that he sent me and I'm keeping an eye on it and actually will buy. I did have a position in it, which I did kind of get out of because I knew Solana was going to crash. It was pretty clear. But I think it's going to probably make a move here. If it does come back down to about 80s, this level here, I am definitely very interested in buying because this is a very clear chart. Could do 500K or a million or probably more. So not financial advice. Meme coins are complete scams. They can rug very quickly. So be very, very cautious with that. Do your own research. Just sharing what I'm looking at personally. So hopefully this one does well. And I hope Soulboy also does well because it does have a cute narrative. I kind of like it, the narrative and the graphics and everything. So we'll see what it does here. It may have already run its course because it did hit 1.2 millions. A lot of times projects just crash after that and then they don't go anywhere. So just a little bit more risk now in this one than Oink, but definitely keeping an eye on this one and keeping an eye on Soulboy as well at the same time. Hopefully it gives us some moves. But as soon as Bitcoin does bottom out, we will have some of these small caps on the move. And so I'm definitely going to be positioning myself for that. Bitcoin, by the way, might do, let's see, on M15, there might be a potential trade for this. Bits, how are you feeling about maybe taking a potential long position here?
I've been waiting all day.
Let's see if this one confirms.
I've been waiting, but it's not. Yeah, it's just very slow. I'm not seeing a lot of volume. But yeah, I mean, it's in the area where I'd like to play, but
there's no volume, but I think we might.
The pattern is valid, but the volume is just crap.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
I might
how a lot of I think we should just be careful with this, guys, because like I've continued to say, longs are very risky right now. So be mindful of that.
It's counter trend. It's counter trend. Yeah.
Counter trend here, yes. So I might, let's see. And it. So Bits, where is your invalidation criteria going to be? I'm still kind of still watching, still not in it quite yet, but I'm probably gonna take a position here soon. Just watching, see where this candle takes us.
Yeah, I wish it. I might even have to go look at the 5-minute to really kind of nail something here. I mean, this is valid, right? Oh yeah, shoot. Yeah. Let me swap.
Let me bring your chart. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Like this so far is looking okay. And I'm going to highlight why this might not be the worst idea ever. So you've got a clear downtrend, right? You're making lower highs. You're making lower lows, right? But what did you do here compared to here? You've got a 5-minute higher high. right, after a downtrend. And then what did this move here come do so far? It filled an imbalance that you had on this move up, right? So you had an FVG. So it came down to a key area. So I'd say if you're going to take this, your invalidation is just right below this structure. I would even just put it below the low of the previous day right here. This is also where your volume profile is kind of suggesting volume comes back in here. So I'd put it behind this gap. And I think that the trade would look like, even if you jump in now, which it's already kind of going, you know, you're kind of setting it up like that. And a 1-to-1 is just getting you right here up to this 1-day rolling VWAP. But if you can even go to the low of the previous week, it's almost a 2R trade. Not horrible. Not a horrible trade. If we're lucky and for some reason it manages to get up to the weekly open, you're looking at about a 3R. But that's how I'd set it up. If you want to be super cautious, you put it behind the absolute low. But I would say as soon as you take out this high, so on a 5-minute, as soon as you take this high out with a new move up and it closes above that, then you can go ahead and pull this up to here, because this should now be protected from the sense that is now a continuation up, right? And so maybe to start, you're looking back here if you're being extra cautious, but then you can kind of pull it up to here on a confirmation above this swing high on a 5-minute. So that's how I'd play that.
Yeah.
If you're waiting to get a better entry, you know, you could maybe still try and fish something down here, but good chance if this pushes up above that, I don't think it's coming back down here again. So if this were to push up above that, you'd basically then would be looking for, you know, this move to finish and it to pull back to an FVG, kind of like it did here, to try and potentially grab that next extension up. So you'd be, if you miss this move here, you got to wait for it to pull back and do the next higher low, and then you can play that up for another 1 to 2R trade on a continuation. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I'm definitely, you know, what you were also showing earlier bits on the charts, which is what I look for. Let me actually quickly share my screen here. But this is pretty clear invalidation that you shared. Let me see. Okay. So what I'm looking for is a curve like this kind of patterns. You guys have heard me talk about this quite a bit, is when the chart does something like this. Let me see if I can bring up that brush. Where did it go? Oh my. Where's that brush? It's here. There we go. Okay. So usually like it will do like this, like curves. So we had these curves, right? We had this curve, we have this curve, we have this curve here. And a lot of times what the price would do is it would do like a sharp A move. That happens a lot. And so we got to be ready for that, right? Either we catch it to the long side or we short it. Again, longing is super risky right now. You could also make an argument that this is a very clear head and shoulder type move, and it's done. Like it's going to maybe go up and then just roll over here, which is a possibility always. But whenever I see these kind of curves, I'm always waiting for this A type opportunity, which, you know, markets are going to give you quite often, not always, but a lot of times. And you guys have caught some of these moves with me in the past. And there's a good reason too. There are some good levels up there. I mean, these two levels that I did say were not retested. Remember, I was talking about it, which is why every time I go short, I just have this in the back of my mind that there are these levels that have not been retested. This level was retested or slightly retested, I guess, not fully. As you can see, once we broke through, not a retest of this. It came pretty close, but did not quite retest it. And then the other one was, well, this one was retested. So that's good. The monthly was not retested, this one, when it broke through this level. So I'm thinking there's a good chance that at some point we may make a move to the upside there, but you have to watch it because if it does roll over here, this could be another thing too, like how it's closing below 13. You'll probably get out before it hits your stop loss. So there's that. Or you can just stay in the trade and let it go to your stop loss. But we'll see. It might not close below, right? It could maybe continue to move up. So this was a valid confirmation here. Not the best setup, of course, because it didn't do like a nice little second move here, second leg, but it's still a valid setup. So we'll see if it does go up. But I'll definitely be interested in shorting an A type move whenever it gives me that. Just have to wait and see whether it happens here or does it going to go all the way to this level first and then we go up. That's really what I'll be watching for. So let's see if this one works out here on M15. Let's see how this candle closes. We still have 8 minutes with no volume, and then of course we have US session will be closing very soon. The stock markets are going to be closing in an hour. So then we'll have some more clear confirmations. I did end up taking, let me see here, Bitcoin I'm still kind of watching. I did take Ethereum. I'm watching that one as well. Felt it was a little bit more clear. Solana has already made its move, which is really what led me to this, that, okay, we got to keep an eye on it because Solana has already moved. When Solana confirmed, I was watching. So Solana confirmation was this basically right here. This was your confirmation on Solana. And so now it's kind of making its move up. It did hit this key level as well, which is your 50 EMA. A lot of times Sol is what you really want to watch if you want to see where Bitcoin is going to go next. Solana will often it will often give you that move first. So let's see how this one works out. I might actually take this one as well, depending on how this candle closes. Anything else, Bits, that you want to share before we wrap up today? I see a comment from Ryan as well, Lady Trader. I think oil is topping also. That's awesome. Yeah. The way I'm playing the oil rotation is with the service companies. Yeah, that's the way to go, really.
I mean, I played silver really through the miners. Initially, I just had exposure to silver miners, and that went really, really well. Some of them I closed way too early. I should have held significantly more, but yeah, I had one that I closed way too early that is like embarrassing, that I'm just like, God, I should have held that sucker, but because it went on an absolute tear. But it happens, it happens. So yeah, I definitely think that when when you have like these capital rotations, these sector rotations, there are smarter ways to get exposure to those same moves and to kind of play that. So 100%. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin awesome. might actually go.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go.
It's not, might not be a crazy phenomenal move or anything like that, but it could be a nice little move.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, Bitcoin looks like it might go here.
Yeah, I like it here.
Will be good. Where are you? I know you were sharing it earlier. Where is your take profit on this one, Bits? Let me actually bring your charts up. You're targeting the upper.
Yeah, I say if we're lucky, we get up here, but I'm probably gonna peel some off here around like 70, 75-ish, kind of coming into this. Okay. This is trying to remember what EMA this is that I've got enabled on here. That's a 200.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's turn them all on really quickly. Yeah, this is your 200 here, and then up here is the 800 on a 5-minute. So on an M15, let's see what we're looking at on an M15. Basically your 50. Yeah, it's like right above the 50, between the 50 and the 100. I'll be looking at TP kind of in there. That's what's going to put me right around like a 1 to 1.5 R. And then above a 2R, I think I'm going to wait for the low of the previous week, which is up here at 75.7. And after that, I'll probably just leave a little runner on to see see what it does. If it can take this weekly open out, I mean, then you're changing 15-minute structure again, right? Going back to what I was saying. At that point, you get a nice close above this. You get some structure above that. You can now, even though you might still get a pullback here, you can now have the expectation that you're probably going to make another move up as well, because now you're making higher highs here in the short term. So yeah, that's really like the level to watch, is if we get a move above and a close above this weekly open, then we might be seeing some targets to the upside that we need to pay attention to. If we don't, then this probably just keeps rolling over again, and we see another push down.
Well, give us an A so we can actually position short for a long time. That's what I want to see. I want to see that A. I think it's gonna give us. So I'm in it, by the way. I'm also in it now.
Yeah,
My Bitcoin entry was a little bit late. It was what is it? Let me see here. 73,885 was my average.
I got 73,797. So yeah, not not an incredible, not a sniper entry, but it's
but
it's
confirmed
an
entry.
Yeah, confirmed entry. Yep, exactly.
It's a confirmed entry. Let's see. I was shorting all night. Took profits on those, and now we are long. Let's see where this one goes, you guys. We like it. It keeps us busy.
Yeah.
Anything else, bits that you want to share before we wrap up today?
No, I think that's it, guys. We're trading what's in front of us. It's a trader's market, lots of volatility, clear little ranges that it's kind of forming, and then at some point it could go back to a very heavy, very large, like 4 hour to 1 day range, and then we'll adjust to that kind of trading, and then once it loses that, it goes back to trending. We'll have to adjust again, So it's just it's continuously just swapping between understanding where the market's going and how it's moving.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the other thing I want to say is, well, as we wrap up the stream here, I will actually be going to Ledger AI space that's going to be starting here in 2 minutes. So if you guys want to follow me there, it's going to be great. I know Ledger is a good, legit AI company. They are doing a lot of good stuff as well. So obviously they are being impacted by the markets as well when we talk about the charts, but they keep kind of pushing. They are implementing their tech in different hospitals. So excited to see what they have for the updates for the community today. But this was incredible, Bits. Thank you so much for co-hosting it with me. We will be back again, guys, on Friday, doing another FOMO Friday.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Happy trading. Yep.
Happy trading.